This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Al.
Hey, hey.
We got a very special show for you today. We're taking a break from all the news in politics. Yep, anything heavy. We all need an escape,
yes.
Right? So that's what today is all about. Instead, we're going to look back at some of our favorite interviews from this past summer.
I love this interview, Sam. And to kick things off, we're starting with a heartwarming story of a single foster dad who adopted a 13-year-old boy. The father and son may not look alike, and they come from completely different parts of the world, but there's no denying their bond. Take a look.
Your message of hope and love is ridiculously inspiring. Peter, you officially adopted Anthony last year, and I hear it was really emotional. I just want to know about that day.
Well, that day of adoption, it's hard to describe to a dad who'd been waiting all my life to be called a dad, but also I'd been waiting for to make it official. And Anthony, from the day he entered my house, he'd always wanted to be adopted. So the waiting had been so long. So by the time we had the date, I did not sleep for 2 days, just wondering, when is this gonna happen? And he'd been asking, Dad, when do I get adopted? And I didn't have what to tell him, but this time I had an answer, so it was really exciting.
That is amazing. Anthony, I heard you guys just adopted another family member, Simba. Talk to me, that's the most important thing. How's your puppy?
He's doing pretty good. He's really playful, so that's really nice. And he likes to go on walks and play around. And he's already learned a lot of cool traits, so that's really nice.
That's the best. I love dogs. Anthony, I know you started calling Peter Dad before you were adopted, but I just wanted to know in your own words why you wanted to do that. Why was that important to you, Anthony?
I guess that I just wanted somewhere that I could feel safe and somebody that I could trust.
Wow, that's the best way of saying it I've ever heard. Totally understandable. Peter, parenting is hard, and you're doing it as a single dad. First off, are you single? Because I'm going to try and set you up, because I want to. I know. I heard. Yes. Anthony, you don't want that. Is that right? You don't want your dad to get married. Is that right?
Come on. No, you get someone to cook food. Yeah.
If you cook food, you already have food. I already know how to cook mac and cheese and ramen noodles and hot pockets.
You're good to go? So are you single though, Peter?
Absolutely. In every way, shape, form. Yes, absolutely single.
All
yes.
Right. I'm getting on this. Well, what made...
I'm brushing right now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Well, I want to know what made you want to take on this incredibly challenging role. What was in you that wanted this?
So I grew up in Africa, and I had the worst childhood you could think of. As a street kid, someone rescued me. So as I got older, and I also got resources and a home, that I wanted to do the same. So for me, it was more of, it is my responsibility. It is my opportunity to take part and change the life of another child within my community. And that's why I signed up. And I really wanted to make a change, at least for one. I could not take them all, but at least one.
At least one. Wow. Now you guys got me crying. What are you doing to me, Peter and Anthony? Stop it. I learned this in Swahili, Mungu akubariki, which means God bless you in Swahili. You are from Uganda. I just want to say thank you for everything.
That is dad goals right there. Peter, not only completely selfless and loving, but a single father. That's not easy.
Not only a single father, but Sam, he completely changed the trajectory of somebody's life.
I know.
Like, his life will be different because he's in it. And that's all, to make an impact like that, you're playing with house money at that point. You won.
I wonder if he's still single. We never got that update.
Good looking dude.
No matter where in the world you live, so much has changed due to the pandemic. And earlier this year, we took some time to see how this new reality has affected people around the globe. It's a series we called Hope Around the World. And in this interview, we met up with Marcelo, who lives in Brazil. Enjoy.
So I'm Marcelo Corde, I'm from Brazil. I used to live in São Paulo, but since the beginning of this quarantine scenario here in Brazil, I moved back to my parents' home in Manaus, a city in the north of Brazil. Since the beginning of this pandemic scenario here in Brazil, every state choose their own way to fight against the spread of this virus. What we see here in Manaus, in other cities, is that there's a lot of people in quarantine, okay? But if you go to poorest neighborhoods, you're gonna see a lot of people still working. In Manaus, you need to use masks on the streets. It's not a law, you don't have fines, but some stores like drugstores or supermarket or grocery stores, they are not allowing people to get in without a mask. Carnival in Brazil is a really, really big thing. It's really fun. It's a lot of people. But if it is happening until next year, I'm worried about what we're gonna do, because we love Carnival here in Brazil. And if we can't have the Carnival, it's gonna be really sad. I live with 5 people at my home. My 2 grandmothers, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And we are sharing the same house. It's great because I'm having some moments with my family that probably I would not have if this is not happening. I'm really worried about my grandmothers, really worried about them, because I know if they catch the virus, probably they will not make it. I think even in this bad scenario of this pandemic, what is giving me hope right now is to see how people are giving the right importance to scientists. So I saw in the past years, a lot of people questioning their importance, a lot of leaders cutting their investments on them, and now we need them. So this is giving me hope right now.
So we have an update from Marcelo, actually. He says that his family, and grandmas are all safe, thank God. He also says that Brazil has a long way to go because he says many still not wearing masks, partying, acting like there is no pandemic, and he sends the studio, DBL, and the viewers his love and well wishes.
And we send it right back.
I know, we do. So coming up on DBL, we've got a shot of soul-inspiring advice on how to best cope during these trying times from a renowned prayer warrior, Devon Franklin. Plus, we'll take you behind the scenes of the Golden State Killer case with Patton Oswalt, whose HBO docuseries is must-stream TV. We'll be right back. I'm Sam Shocker. The way I would describe myself as a host of DBL, well, my co-hosts call me like the mom, so I guess I'm kind of like the team mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Sam.
Oh, Mama Bear. Yeah. Being a working mother is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I have such respect to all mothers out there, and that I love animals. I will advocate for animals till the day I die. The connection that we have built with the viewer, you feel like family, you share things that you are going through with us, and I felt comfortable sharing a really dark time in my life with you. I'm going through it.
I know.
I'm proud that we are inclusive. I'm proud that we have conversations about social injustices. Yes, we always have fun on this show, but at the end of the day, I feel like that we're making a difference. We really do provide a voice for the voiceless, and I'm so grateful for that.
The payroll tax deferral was one of 4 executive orders signed by the president to help ease the burden on Americans. It went into effect on September 1st. So what does this mean for you? Let's connect the dots. For starters, you have to make less than $4,000 every 2 weeks to qualify. If that is you, then you will see some extra money in your paycheck. But think of it as a loan. This is a deferral, not a tax break. The temporary relief will come from your portion of Social Security tax, which is about 6.2% of a worker's gross pay. So how much could you see? If you make $30,000 a year, it comes out to roughly $72 extra in your paycheck. Keep in mind, it's not required that employers withhold the Social Security taxes from workers' pay, so you should check with yours to find out if they are withholding. Either way, remember this is not a stimulus check and will have to be paid back eventually. Only time and policy will tell us when and how. And we just connected the dots.
back to DBL. Today we are taking a look at some of our favorite interviews, and this next one really spoke to me.
Yeah, I mean, I love these interviews because earlier, you know, Erica, Tori, and myself sat down with faith-based producer, Sam's laughing at me, Devin Franklin, to talk about keeping hope alive, especially when things can all seem so dark. Take a look.
How are you holding on to your peace during these challenging times? Talk to me.
Yes, okay, this is really important because so often we look at what's going on in the world and our instinct is to panic. So the way that I hold on to peace is to really be aware of what I can control and what I can't control. This is critical because so often we're not in peace because we're too focused on what we don't control. So what I can control is how I get up in the morning. I can control my mindset. I can control my disposition. I can control my attitude. And I can control my action and activism. So when I actually have more control, that gives me more peace. And then I say, okay, there's certain things that may be happening out of my control. So let me not try to apply control to those things that are outside of that. And when I focus on that, I personally am able to find peace, and that's why I've been encouraging others to do the same.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, of course, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and now we're also in the middle of a revolution sparked by the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and of course, Ahmaud Arbery. And those are just the names that we're talking about now. You know, it's hard for me as a black woman, and I'm sure, and I want to ask you as a black man, to find it to be a part of God's plan when we're losing our brothers and sisters. How do we reconcile that in our hearts and minds?
So here's what I believe. It's not that he wants these things to happen, but if he's allowed certain things to happen, I believe each one of our responses should be, okay, God, what positive part do you want me to play in this moment? If you've allowed me to be alive right now in Earth's history, it's because you want to use me for positive change. So again, sometimes we're like, well, why would God? I don't know, right? And it's okay to say, we don't know. I don't know why God would allow it. But I do believe that if he's allowed us to be alive, we are supposed to play a positive role in bringing about the change that is needed. And I do believe faith with works is important. So we have faith that God has this world in his hand, and we also put works with that faith in order to make sure that what we do aligns with what we believe, even in the face of certain things we may never get a full understanding of.
Can you give our DBL Nation words of inspiration for those who may be feeling hopeless? Excuse me.
It's okay not to be okay. Please, anyone watching right now, don't have any hollow hope right now or fake faith. What does that mean? It means that when you're not being honest with how you feel, you actually suppress those feelings, and those feelings can actually cause you more harm. We are going through an unprecedented time. It's okay to admit I'm hurting right now. I'm depressed. I'm down. I'm worried. I'm angry. So then when you acknowledge the real feeling, and then when you choose to have faith, right? Then when you choose to have peace, you're doing it from a place of strength. We all are going through this. We're all in this. And the only way to get through this is through truth. Transparency leads to transformation. It's okay to admit I'm not okay, but we still claim by faith that we will be okay. Wow. So that's how we navigate a time like this. Acknowledge the feelings, but still make the declaration that it's all going to work out and align our actions to align with that declaration.
Is he the most amazing person or what?
I just love to hear what he had to say, and I've seen a lot more people on social media just saying I'm not okay, and I think that's a good thing.
It's okay to be not okay.
That's
and he
right.
said transparency leads to transformation.
That's right.
Woo!
So true.
So good. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Tori Schulman, and I am DBL's Legal Eagle. So I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., not Virginia, not Maryland, Washington, D.C. What's coming up in DBL that's very exciting is some strong conversations, and some sparks are gonna fly. The co-host that makes me laugh the most is Al, because he's funny, and then also Jeff because he's so sad. That's seriously. Anywho, I'm really looking forward to Lindsay joining the show because she's gonna bring my game up, keep me on my toes, but also get a little taste of the Schulmanator. Instead of saying, he's wrong, he's not. We saw the percentages. I'm always interested in what you, the viewer, has to say. And I'm not scared to debate you because sometimes you win.
Hey DBL Nation, my name is Jeff Schroeder and I'm the host that's going to bring honesty to the panel. I think something most people might not know about me is that I actually met my wife on a reality show and we've been together for 10 years and have 2 children now. What makes me different from the other hosts is I'll always try to see the other side. No matter what side I'm on, I want the audience to know that there is another side to the conversation and that I'm listening. The co-host that irritates me easily, Tori Schulman.
Was that the lamest thing I've ever done?
I wanted to, yeah.
Sadly, no. What makes Daily Blast Live different from other shows is that we bring honest opinions in all different walks of life. DBL is real, DBL is raw, DBL is honest.
Welcome back to DBL. So the Golden State Killer was one of the most prolific serial rapists and murderers ever.
Earlier, Jeff and I spoke with actor Patton Oswalt and Liz Garbus, the pair of behind the HBO series that I loved. It was all about the killer and his victims. It was based on a book by Patton Oswalt's wife, who died before it was published. Take a look.
You'd heard of Zodiac Killer. You'd heard of Son of Sam. The Golden State Killer is one of the most prolific, violent, serial rapists, and eventually a murderer.
Patton Oswalt and Liz Garbus, thank you so much for joining us here on Daily Blast Live.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, Michelle's book is widely credited for renewing interest in the Golden State Killer case. Do you think Joseph James D'Angelo would have been caught otherwise?
I mean, I don't know if he would have been caught without her naming him the Golden State Killer. And I'm only saying that based on what other police have told me, which is, you know, one of the reasons cases go cold, and this is a morbid reason, but sometimes the killers are not given cool, memorable names. And she came up with the name, the Golden State Killer, and all of her research and activity around it made this cold case warm again.
So Patton, sticking right on that, you helped finish this book. You created this series with the help of Liz, of course, and many other people, I'm sure. Was this a difficult process for you?
Well, of course. I mean, I had to, to get the book done, I had to hand all the material over to, 2 other writers because I couldn't look at any of this stuff objectively. It was still too emotional, and especially with the documentary.
Now, instead of glorifying the criminals in I'll Be Gone in the Dark, Liz, it centers around the survivors. How important was it for you to let the survivors tell their own story?
It was super important. I wanted to resist the kind of trope of this all-powerful serial killer, oh my God, mastermind, and instead, center the stories of the survivors who, frankly, have just incredible strength and stories to tell. In the filmmaking process, we really wanted to honor that and echo that approach.
Going off script here a little bit, watching the first 2 episodes, you know what really jumped off the screen for me was that the women and what society was going through at that time, they were almost blamed for having the killer rape them. I mean, it was so apparent in those first 2 episodes that it's crazy to think back that's how society was.
Well, unfortunately, it's still that way a lot of times now. I mean, we've evolved. I don't think we've evolved as far as we should have. I think it was just more blatant back then.
So filming had just begun when news of D'Angelo's arrest broke. What was that like?
It was crazy because, we had just started filming. It was our first night and we had just met Michelle's family. We were in Chicago, and hearing that news with them was so heavy and emotional. It was mind-blowing. And of course, it's amazing that they've put a name to this unknown killer.
D'Angelo's is expected to plead guilty the day after the show premieres. So Liz, how do the survivors feel about this, and do they have a sense of closure with this all?
I certainly can't speak for all the survivors. Of course, there are way too many. I will say from some of the people we know whose counts weren't included in the original charges because of statute of limitations on rape cases or, DNA evidence that was lacking, that for them, if he pleads guilty to their rapes as well, that's really important that those cases be counted.
So you can stream All Be Gone in the Dark right now on HBO or HBO Max. Coming up on DBL, the inspiring story of a Nigerian ballet academy and a student whose viral video landed him a spot at a top American dance school. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
It's easy to share misinformation about coronavirus without even knowing it. That's why our Verify team exists, to find out what's real and what's not. A viewer asked our Verify team to check out this claim on social media. It says a pediatrician told a mother a COVID-19 vaccine won't be developed for kids for at least 8 to 10 years. So let's verify. Could it really take up to 10 years before a vaccine is ready for kids? Our sources on this one, Dr. Brian Kaminsky of ProMedica, a nonprofit healthcare system. Dr. Buddy Creech, a pediatric infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt University School of Medicine, and the Johns Hopkins University Center for Global Health. And right off the bat, all three sources tell us this is false. It will not take 8 to 10 years before a pediatric COVID-19 vaccine is developed.
I can say confidently that that one is false. When we develop vaccines, we need to use human trials, and human trials involve consenting adults that are willing to take the risks associated with the trial.
An expert with the Johns Hopkins Center for Global Health says after a COVID-19 vaccine proves safe and effective in adults, then clinical trials in children will start. The center says at least one manufacturer is planning to test their vaccine in children, and others are working on doing the same. Dr. Creech says when it comes to the coronavirus, older adults with medical complications are suffering the most, so that population is the priority. He says children will follow adults in trials because children are less likely to develop a severe case. Dr. Creech says certain benchmarks will have to be met before a major pediatric COVID-19 vaccine program rolls out, but that it will not take 8 to 10 years. So we can't verify false. Our experts say it won't be 8 to 10 years until children can get a COVID-19 vaccine.
My name is Erica Cobb. My hair is 100% authentically me, and so are my opinions. I am from Chicago, Illinois, and that's where my career started. My role on the panel is the voice of reason. If sometimes you want to be questionably unreasonable.
It's part of growing up.
Get him, girl.
And this is part of it.
Growing up, Al, is part of growing up. It's super disrespectful.
Revealing my natural hair on live TV was one of the most liberating things I've ever done.
Let me tell you, I would have been in the salon a long time ago if I knew it got a standing ovation.
And as a result, I know that that's affected a lot of other women who want to be their most authentic self, and I carry that with me every day. DBL is unapologetic. DBL is organic. DBL is fearless. DBL is you.
Welcome back to DBL. Today we are taking a look back at some of our best interviews from this past summer, and this one was one of my favorites.
It was a good one, Sam. This is the story of Nigerian Ballet Academy and its students that had a viral video that was just so crazy. I loved it. It was so good that it got them a scholarship at a prestigious ballet company in New York City. So take a look.
Look at this. Oh! Well, this is a very exciting day for me on DBL. Joining me all the way from Nigeria is Daniel and his entire ballet class. Hello, everyone. Bawani. Daniel, oh, you guys are so cute. Tell us about your amazing students.
Thank you very much. Presently, I have like 12 students in our academy from the ages of 7 through to 19. We've been training for 2.5 years.
Wow,
Unbelievable. Anthony, when I saw your dancing video, I was moved to tears. And so far, the video has been viewed more than 24 million times, which means you're kind of a big deal. What do you love most about doing ballet?
What I love most about doing ballet is the disciplines that we take and the schoolwork we do. We revise them when we come for ballet.
All right, Daniel, you originally didn't want to post the video. Can you tell us why?
I originally didn't want to post the video because I didn't want to pick a very bad picture of Africa being very poor, and they wanted to just keep that part just for our own view. But then, with inspiration from my friends and my partners, were like, Daniel, just show how it is really with you guys. I just said, okay, let's do it. And I just posted it, and the story is what we're hearing today. This is the dream of every dance teacher, especially for someone who's actually a struggling dance teacher in this kind of environment. For me to actually see that Vero Davis and Taraji and the rest of them actually posted our video shows that our work is being noticed internationally and are being supported. So that alone is just very overwhelming. It's a very surreal experience for me.
I can imagine. Now, I've got to know personally, why ballet and how has it shaped your life, Daniel? Tell us about that.
I love ballet since when I was in year 9, and ballet is not the regular kind of dance we do here in Africa or here in Nigeria, to be precise. As a Nigerian, you should do something that is decent. The cute ballet is too Western with a very bad culture, but then we're actually just telling them that you don't need to be having that negative picture in your head about ballet. So that was why I was able to go into ballet, and I discovered that ballet is not just about the dance. It shows a lot of discipline and dedication. In fact, ballet can help enhance a child's growth. That's why I really wanted ballet aside every other dances I was able to see.
Yeah, and Daniel, to be honest, ballet always seems sort of like a rich kind of person's dance, right? And to bring it to the everyday child is just a blessing. Is that how you see it as well?
Exactly. Ballet is, it's very, ballet costumes are expensive.
Yeah.
The ties are expensive. Shoes are expensive. You need to keep on changing shoes and keep on changing ties, because once the ties get turned, you can't obviously be comfortable in wearing that. So I remember when we started, we can use one tie for a very, very long time, for like almost 1 year. And for us here that from low income families, it's very, very expensive.
Wow. I mean, not only the selflessness of that coach who is changing so many young children's lives, but that talent. Who knows what will happen with that young boy? I think we're going to see a huge star.
I just think the male population is so underrepresented in ballet. And if you're a parent that wants their kid to play sports in college, start with ballet. Anybody can do arm curls and get biceps. Who cares about that? That core strength that you get from being able to do ballet, Pilates, yoga, things like that, that's the way to go. Not
to mention the footwork, right?
That's right.
Unbelievable. If you're sticking around, there's more DBL coming up. We'll see you later.